A mute girl witnesses a murder. No one believes her, but her silence is about to expose everything. In the small town of Ainsley Hollow, tucked between forgotten hills and the mist-laced edge of a forest, the silence clung to the fog like an old, lingering secret. The town was the kind of place where nothing ever happened until something did, and when it did, it unraveled everything. Elara lived there, 16 years old, with eyes like storm glass, reflective, unreadable, yet strangely knowing. She hadn't spoken a word since she was 5, not because she couldn't. Her vocal cords were perfectly intact, but because something inside her, something dark and buried, had made a choice. A trauma never spoken aloud, a memory sealed behind silence. The world she moved through was muted and careful. She saw in textures and shadows, not in words. Her senses were sharpened by quiet. The scratch of pencil on paper, the flicker of candlelight on old wallpaper, the brittle creak of footsteps on warped wooden floors. This was her symphony. She never missed a detail. She had learned to see what others ignored, and it was in that silence that she saw something no one else did. It was a Tuesday evening when it happened, the kind of evening where twilight bled, slow and blue, across the rooftops, and the fog rolled in like an omen. Elara had taken her usual shortcut through the abandoned mill road, her sketchpad tucked beneath her arm like a talisman. The path was rarely used, framed by rusted wire fences and ivy-choked telephone poles, half-forgotten arteries of a town that had once mattered. She wasn't afraid of the dark. She wasn't afraid of much, because silence, when lived in long enough, becomes a kind of armor. As she neared the crumbling greenhouse behind the old Whitmore estate, she paused. Something wasn't right. The air, it tasted metallic, bitter. The quiet wasn't natural. It wasn't the gentle hush she was used to. It was still, too still. Then came the sounds, a grunt, a struggle, a short, final thud, like flesh hitting stone. Elara crept forward, her pulse pounding like a trapped bird's wings. The glass of the greenhouse was fractured and fogged, but through a jagged hole, she saw them. 2 figures, one standing, one on the floor, crumpled and terribly still. The standing man knelt and rifled through the victim's coat. He found something, a flash drive, slid it into his pocket with mechanical calm. His face, half lit by a sputtering flashlight, turned, and for one heartbeat too long, their eyes met. Elara didn't move. Neither did he. Then, without a word, he vanished into the shadows like smoke. Elara ran, fast, silent, her breath ragged, her lungs aching. She didn't stop until she was home, until the lock clicked behind her and the world felt too small to hold what she now knew. That night, she didn't sleep. Her trembling hands turned to paper. Drawing after drawing, she captured it all. The man's face, the sliver of light on his cheekbone, the outline of the flash drive, the broken greenhouse pane. Her truth, told in graphite and shadow. Her mother barely noticed. Too tired, always working night shifts at the clinic. Elara had become part of the wallpaper long ago, but this time she had to be seen. The next morning, she walked to the police station, alone, sketches clutched tight. She pointed, gestured, pleaded with her eyes. The officer, young and bored, skimmed her drawings with the detached amusement of someone looking at fan art. "A bad dream," he said kindly. "Try to get some rest, sweetheart." That evening, the news hit. Elliot Granger, a local journalist and notorious conspiracy theorist, found dead in his apartment. Apparent suicide. No foul play suspected. But Elara knew. She had seen it. and they were already burying it. So she returned to the greenhouse. Every step retraced, every crack in the ground remembered. She searched the ruined building with numb fingers and found it, beneath a shattered clay pot, smeared with blood and dirt. A small, leather-bound notebook. The first page read, "If I disappear, it's because I found something I wasn't supposed to." Her heart nearly stopped. The notebook was a war cry in ink. Names, dates, secret meetings, notes in frantic handwriting, whispers of a tech firm called Miravolt Industries. Officially, they made agricultural software. Unofficially, they dealt in surveillance systems, mass data extraction, and political blackmail. At the center of it all, a kill list. Elara wasn't just a witness. She was now holding a fuse to a ticking bomb. She couldn't go to the police, couldn't tell her mother, couldn't be heard. So she turned to the only person who ever truly listened, Noah. He was the quiet kid in the back of class, always sketching code on his arm in pen, always patient with her silence. He never asked why she didn't speak. He simply spoke with her, through notes, gestures, glances. He understood that sometimes silence held more than words ever could. When Elara showed him the notebook, he didn't laugh. He believed her. They began decoding Elliot's research, every scribbled lead, every password. They hacked into buried servers, pieced together fragments. They even found a mention of the flash drive, an item Elliot had encrypted with evidence. Video, audio, names. They had nearly cracked the encryption when the first threat came. A note in her locker, "Stop." Then her bike tires were slashed. Then a white envelope on her windowsill. Inside, one word, printed in red, "Silence." But Elara had carried silence for years. She was done being afraid of it. She dug deeper. Through surveillance, they traced the killer. His name, Victor Lorne, ex-Special Forces, now head of security at Miravolt, ruthless, clean, the man from the greenhouse. And then Noah disappeared. His room was trashed, his laptop gone. A streak of blood stained the floorboards, and no one seemed to care. Not the police, not the school, not even her mother, who told her maybe he ran away. Elara knew better. She was alone. But silence doesn't mean surrender. It means calculation. She broke into Miravolt's compound, under the cover of fog, dressed in black, her breath shallow, her movements surgical. She had memorized the building's layout from Elliot's notes. She slipped past cameras, disabled locks, found the server room, and there it was, a cabinet labeled E. Granger, Final. Inside, the flash drive. As alarms blared and red lights spun like devils in the dark, Elara ran. The world became noise, but her silence held her steady. She didn't go home. She went to the city, to a news station Elliot had trusted. She barged into the lobby, clothes torn, face pale, thrusting the flash drive into the security guard's hands. On a notepad she wrote, "Play this. Live. Now." They did, and what followed broke the world. The footage exposed everything. Illegal surveillance, bribes, political blackmail, murders, including Elliot's. Miravolt burned, protests exploded, arrests followed, Ainsley Hollow woke from its slumber. Noah was found 2 days later, alive, beaten, but breathing. And Elara? She stood on the steps of City Hall, watching as the mayor was escorted away in cuffs. Reporters clamored, cameras clicked. A woman leaned in. "You saw it all," she asked. "Why didn't you say something sooner?" Elara looked past her, and for the first time in 11 years, she spoke. Her voice was hoarse, delicate, but each word landed like thunder. Because no one listens until the silence screams. And then she turned. Her voice had broken the dam, but her story was still being written. Because some truths never die, some voices never fade, and some girls, even in silence, become legends.